So now that we know how to look at a table and be able to tell if it's exponential, we're going to talk about, well, what happens if they ask us to find the equation of the exponential function? And there's two ways to do it. So sometimes you're going to be able to get the equation straight from the table very easily. And for those, we're going to just pull it straight from the table. But for those that maybe don't increase by the same interval each time, or maybe there's something strange happening with your data, you're going to need to be able to use Desmos with that, okay? And so these steps are what I had in the slide before this. I've kind of just abbreviated and shortened them a bit, but we're going to get to that in a minute, okay? So let's say that they asked us to write the equation of this exponential function right here. Well, if you think back to the other day when we talked about this equation, remember, for this one, in like real world problems, this is what it starts with, or this is your y-intercept in the graph, and like in a real world problem, it's your initial value. It's what it started with, okay? And so that's going to come into play here. And then B is your factor. It's what you're multiplying by to go from one to the next. So it's your growth or decay factor. All right. So those two concepts will come into play when you're trying to find the equation from your table. Okay. So if I had to write the equation of this, I'm going to have to write it right underneath it because I didn't leave myself a lot of room. I'm going to be plugging in and trying to find what A and B are. Okay. So when you're looking at your table to know what A is, remember, it's your y-intercept. So if you kind of think back to when we did linear functions, your y-intercept is when you have a number for y and you have 0 for x in the table. So if you knew that, you'd be able to tell me it. Or if you think in like a real world sense, it's how many there were at the very beginning before any time had passed. So if you kind of think about this table, if you think about these like times, this would be the one before any time had passed, because this means that there's 0 times that time that has passed, and then there were 64, like if it was people, there were 64 people. So A would be 64. So when you write your equation, it would be y equals, and then your A, how many did we start with? There were 64 of them. And then to find the B, remember, B is whatever number you're multiplying by. And that's actually what we had just found right here. So the only reason this works exactly the way you want it to is because the x values were increasing, had an interval of 1. If the x values don't have an interval of 1, like down here it had an interval of 2, or they were going by 2 each time, you're going to have to do something special before you can find B, okay? But if the interval for your x values, it was just going up by 1 each time, your B is actually going to be whatever that common factor was for your y values. So we were multiplying by 1/2 with our y values. That is my factor. That is my B that goes in the equation. So we were multiplying by 1/2 each time. That is the equation. So some of these tables, and then don't forget to put your x as your exponent. So some of these tables are going to actually be pretty easy to find the equation for, okay? So now let's discuss, well, what happens if it doesn't increase, or like your x values aren't going up by an interval of 1? Well, there is a way to find it straight from the table, just like we did the last one, but you have to do a little extra step, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use Desmos to help us find it to begin with, and then I'll show you kind of what extra step we would have to do if we try to do it like the last problem, okay? So you'll pull up Desmos. If you're using Desmos to write the equation for you, kind of like what you did for linear functions, you'll pull it up, and then you're going to hit the plus button that's in the upper left corner, and then you're going to type table, and then you just simply, just like what I did here, you simply type in your table of values. So I went ahead and did that. So you'll type it in. And let me see if I can get it as clear as possible. And then from there, so after you have typed in your table into Desmos, this is where you have to get it to tell the equation, okay? So like with linear functions, you had to type it from like the y equals mx plus b. This is not a linear function anymore. It has its own equation. So kind of a spin-off of this equation. You take that equation and you're going to plug it in, but remember, you have to make the y and the x match your table. So, let me pull this back up. All right. So when I type in my equation, so I'm going to see if I can get this to go away. Oh, there we go. Okay. So when I type in my equation, I'm going to start typing in the y equals ab to the x equation, which is for my exponentials, but I'm going to make it match the y and the x I have in my table, just like what I did with linear functions. So I'm going to type a y, and then it has a y1 in my table, so I'm going to type y1. And then remember, it's approximating an equation for this. So you don't hit the equals, you actually hit that little tilde, okay? And then the equation for an exponential is a times b, so I'm going to type in ab. And then it's to the x power. So to pull up the little x, you hit the a to the b button. And so when I hit that a to the b button, it's going to go up as the exponent spot. And then you type in x, and then you have to make the x match it. So you're going to type in an x1, okay? After you do that, so notice it looks very similar to this, but you have a little tilde instead of the equals, and then you have a little subscript of a 1 so that it matches your table. So it'll pull the data from the table, okay? So once you do that, you'll notice that down here at the bottom, you will see, and I'm sorry that it's kind of blurry. Let me see if I can get a little bit better. You'll see that they give you what A and B are. So once they do that, all you have to do is take that and plug it in your equation. So I'm going to move this over here. So when I write the equation, we're plugging it into the y equals a times b to the x. So on my screen, I have a is equal to 0.25, so it'd be 0.25. That's my a. And then my b was 2. So I put the 2 in for b. And then don't forget to put your x as the exponent. So there is your exponential equation that represents this function, okay? Now, if you were trying to pull this straight from the table, you would have to actually do a little bit of work. So because your intervals for the x values were 2, what you'd have to actually do is take this common factor and divide by that, okay, to get the b. Then to get the initial value, notice we didn't have the initial value, so you'd actually have to work backwards to get the initial value. So like here, you'd have to subtract 2, and so you'll notice that we get an x value of 0. Here, you'd have to reverse this, so you'd have to actually divide by 4 to get back. So if I take 1 and divide by 4, I get 1/4 or 0.25. So notice that was my initial value, okay? So you could still find it from the table, but you have to do a little extra work, okay? So the next one, well, is this one that you can get straight from the table, or do you have to use Desmos? You could actually do either one, because if you look at the x values, it's an interval of 1. So I could actually get my data straight from the table here, okay? So if I did that, well, what's the starting point? I will have to do a little work there because they don't tell me what the 0 is, and so I'd have to subtract 1, which if I subtract 1, I get 0 for the x, and then here I'd have to reverse this. So instead of multiplying by 3, we're going to work backwards and divide by 3. So if I take 3 divided by 3, I get 1. So 1 would be my starting point. So my A would be 1. And then what am I multiplying by? Well, because my x values had the same interval of 1, it's going to be whatever I was multiplying by here. So my B, or my factor, is 3. Okay? And then this would actually be a growth because my B was greater than 1. Okay? So that's how you get it from a table. So now what if they gave you a graph and they asked you for it? Well, what I would suggest to do is make a table out of it to begin with, and then get your equation from it. So like if I was doing number 1, I would pick some good points from my table. So I'm going to make a little table for myself down here. And I think you have to have at least 3 to do it. So some good points would be points that are like on the crosshairs of my graph. So like this would be a good point right here. And that's actually my y-intercept, so I'll already know that. So my y-intercept, that was at 0, 1. And then this point right here, I got to look at what it's going by. So that would be at 1, and then that would be at 3. So 1, 3. So read your graph very carefully. And then this point right here is also on the crosshairs, so that would be at 2, and it looks like it's at 9. So 2, 9. Okay, so you could look at the table and kind of look at what the intervals are, and then look at the common factor and get it from that. Or you could type this in Desmos like I did this one up here and have it do the work for you. Okay, either way. This is probably one that's a little easier to get straight from the table because you're given all your information. So like notice your x values are increasing by 1, so they have the interval of 1. And then think about what you're multiplying by. That's what makes it exponential, to go from one to the next. So to go from 1 to 3, 3 to 9, I'm multiplying by 3. And so from here, to write your equation, it's y equals whatever your starting point is, or what your y-intercept is. So my y-intercept is 1, so that'd be a 1. And then, because my x values had that interval of 1, I could just look over here at my factor to know what the b is. So my b would be 3. So that's the equation. Okay, so then for the next one, if I was trying to do this one, I'm going to make myself a little table, and I'm going to plug good points, or find good points from the table. So look at what your x and y axis are going by, because that's going to make a difference. So like here, that's a good point, which is at 0, 3. So that's my y-intercept. So that would be, I could actually go ahead and plug that in. It'd be right there. And then to find the b, you're going to have to kind of, like I did over here, write a couple points so you can know what the pattern is. So I'm going to find, that's another good one right there, which is at 1, 6. And then let me find one more. So that looks like a good one, which is at 2, 12. And then I'm going to find the pattern. So my x values are increasing by 1. So that means that whatever the common factor is, I can go ahead and plug in. I don't have to do any extra work. So what am I multiplying by to go from 3 to 6, 6 to 12? Well, in this one, I'm multiplying by 2. And so that is my factor, which goes right there. So the equation for that one, I'm starting at 3, and it's doubling each time. Okay, so then this last one, same story. You have the option from getting it straight from the table, or you can type it in Desmos. So with this one, they actually point out some points to us. So I'm just going to write those points down because that's the easiest way, I guess. If they're giving me points, why not use them? And so here's my points. And notice I wrote them in order. And so look at the pattern here. We are adding 1, so that's a good thing. That's what we want with the x's. And now we look at the y values to figure out what is that common factor. So this one's a little harder. So this one could be one that you could type into Desmos if you needed to. But what am I multiplying 4 by to get 1? What do I multiply 1 by to get 0.25? And remember, 0.25 is like 1/4, so that might help. And if you kind of think through this one, you could multiply by 1/4. And that will make, multiplying by 1/4 is like dividing by 4, right? So if I take like 4 divided by 4, I get 1. If I take 1 divided by 4, I get 0.25. So that's my common factor. And then again, if you didn't feel comfortable with this, you could always type it in Desmos, okay? Just like I did the first one. All right, so, well, what is my y-intercept? That's what goes in for A. So it'd be y equals, my y-intercept is 1. And then what am I multiplying by? Well, I'm good with my x values because it had an interval of 1. So that number, the 1/4, can go directly in to the equation. Okay, so this is actually a decay. And notice you can tell that from the table too. Okay, so something that I am going to mention in the next slide, and I just want to go ahead and talk about, is this last statement here. This is something that we're going to come back and revisit, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. Something you need to know about exponential functions because of the way that they are. So like if you look at a growth, it kind of starts out level and then all of a sudden increases dramatically. Because of that, exponential functions will eventually exceed, in other words, go past any quantity, any number that's increasing linearly, like increasing like with the pattern of a line, quadratically, which will be a function we talk about later, or any other polynomial. It's going to always eventually go past it just because it increases so dramatically. Okay, so that's something that you will need to be aware of and just keep in mind as we go forward.